Good evening. My name is Larcy at Easterland. I'll be discussing the critique of multiple choice assignment for the critique of multiple choice assessment for Module 4. To begin, I just want to go ahead and get started. The assessment was aligned with a few of the guidelines listed from Chapter 5. Some of those guidelines were, yes, the entire question was stated in item 10. There were a limit use of all or none of the above, use always and never with caution, and the responses were not brief. Some of them were parallel to the answers, the questions, but they were not brief. There was the best answer for most of the questions, but again, my best answer might have not been the correct answer. And yep. So first question that we are going to go over is question 2. Which of the following is a consideration when establishing the validity of test results? The correct answer was D. The test is an accurate representation of the construct to be measured. The type of target type this question is knowledge. Because you pretty much have to understand and know the definition of what the V word means, which from prior knowledge I know that it's to be measured, or the measure of classroom work, but that was not in anywhere within our chapters or discussed anywhere within our chapters, or within our learning targets on our syllabus. So the next question, question 5, teaching and assessing are two different things. Which is the following explanation of why assertion is considered faulty? The correct answer is A. Teaching well requires that students have opportunities to practice and learn before they are graded. So I missed this question. I was kind of unsure of what it meant. I actually thought the answer was C, based off the knowledge I obtained from the book. So this was within our clear learning targets on the syllabus, primarily in chapter 2 and 3. And that was to explain research-based strategies for implementing formative assessment and practices in the classroom, or just understanding what formative assessment and summative assessments were. So in teaching and assessing are actually aligned with, they're no different. They are different, but they're not. So a form of testing, or the two forms of formative testing are formal and informal. And informal can be used, as a practice, and students are constantly learning in the classroom during that time. And yeah, it was a reasoning question because you had to, it was kind of a comparison, but you also had to determine what the question was asking you. So that STEM was most likely, for me, it was like the type of assessment or formative. That's what I got from this question. Question 18, what is the primary purpose of deconstructing content standards? The correct answer was D, to identify what to teach. This question was fairly easy. It was brief. All the responses were pretty much equivalent. I'm saying like they were all brief. All of the responses were brief. And this was a knowledge type of question because you had to define what deconstructing content standards, or what deconstruction was or is, And that was also on our learning targets in chapters, not chapters, but within our learning targets as deconstruct learning targets as needed, which is where it was defined and select from options for sharing learning targets with students and support selection. So you had to understand what deconstructing was. So yes, the learning targets measured with a variety of target types. So yeah, there was that connection. 3 items I would change on this test. I wouldn't have just done multiple choice. I would have done true or false, maybe fill in the blank and matching, only to make sure. Multiple choice is fine when it comes to reading, but for me, I know matching is very helpful when it comes to like reading material, and especially fill in. And true and false, you can kind of go back to the text and identify, but those are more knowledge-based questions, excuse me. These changes will require a different type of selected response. Granted, true or false would be more so statements that might have a word or two that needs to be changed. Fill in the blank would pretty much be a sentence or a sentence where you have to infer what goes in the blank. And matching would pretty much just be definition, which also goes into knowledge or understanding, like what something is or what it represents. This concludes my presentation. Thank you so much.